If your money isn't creating freedom, flexibility, and space in your life, then what is it actually doing? You don't want to just be making money. You want your money to work for you. I prefer that you are out in the world doing what makes you happy, what actually brings you joy. Welcome to Money Musings, a podcast that breaks down money, investing, and wealth with zero BS and unapologetic irreverence. I'm your host and money co-conspirator, Stephanie Zenos. Let's get into it. Welcome to my Barbie dream house, a house where literally I just came out of the woods, the wild, tending to my new baby chicks. The universe manifested this house on my behalf this year, somehow magically. And so I guess that means we need to do an episode about real estate, which is one of my least favorite topics. I don't know why, but lots of people ask me about real estate and whether I think it's a good, let's just say, wealth builder. And yeah, I've got some sassy opinions on real estate. And meanwhile, here I am in my dream home. So the irony is not lost on me. I will say before I get into it that if you are thinking about real estate as a wealth builder or starting to question real estate as a wealth builder, this will be a fun topic to explore together today. So everyone's obsessed with passive income. This is like the new hot thing, the old hot thing. And for whatever reason, passive income and real estate have somehow been turned into the same thing. Like we've been sold this story that real estate is a good investment or a good way to build wealth passively. But if you talk to anyone who actually has real estate, they'll probably tell you it ain't that passive. For me, what do I think about real estate? Well, let's just start by saying, if you have real estate and you're renting it out, I think about that as maybe active income with assets attached. And if you have real estate that maybe you're not renting it out and you're living in it, that's your home. I kind of think about that as an investment, but almost not really because you're living in it. And so therefore I see it more as like an expense that you really get to enjoy. For me, real estate, I probably wouldn't even get involved if A, my family wasn't involved in Greece, and B, I didn't like literally manifest this dream house and need a nice place to live. I probably wouldn't be interested. And I could rent, but frankly, having moved a couple times in a couple years, I'm like, please God, I never want to move again. So let me buy a house so at least no one can kick my ass out. So the question for me, when I think about real estate, when I think about investing, when I think about wealth, I like to ask, does this actually give me more freedom? If the answer is no, then that's not really my philosophy to wealth. I think the most important question is, does wealth mean enjoying your life? What does wealth actually mean to you? Because true wealth to me means my money is creating freedom, flexibility, and space to actually enjoy myself and enjoy my life. Anything else is working for money. Anything else is creating time for money. Anything else is, frankly, for me, just not worth it. It's about just numbers in a bank account or something else that maybe you really want. But for me, if it's not freedom, it ain't the thing I'm looking for. Do you have flexibility to chase inspiration when it strikes? If you're in real estate, sometimes your money is locked up. It's a little bit harder to get your money out than if you're just investing in the market. Also, newsflash, the market requires basically zero effort. You stick your money in there, you walk away for 30 years if you want, and it's totally fine. So I love that. What can I say? I am lazy when it comes to making my money work for me. Said differently, it's not that I don't want to spend effort on things. Duh. I mean, I'm a pretty self-actualized person. I want to spend effort living my life and seeing my dreams come to fruition, chasing my inspiration, making the world a better place. I don't want to spend my time managing my money all the time and working for my money. I don't want to trade my time for money, actually. It's nice to be paid for things, okay, sure. But my definition of wealth is not trading my time for money. I'm wanting my money to work for me. So I guess when we talk about real estate and some people say it's passive, what they really mean is they're outsourcing a lot of the work. And to me, again, passive does not equate outsourced. Passive means no ongoing decision-making, no management. If I've got property managers managing my properties, there's still some involvement there. So you still have to think about it regularly. It's not fully passive. So what is real estate? Like I said, I think real estate is a very powerful tool, but it requires time and oversight. and it is concentrated, it is illiquid, it is operationally complex, all of the things that I'm trying to avoid. Essentially, having real estate is like building a business around an asset. And for some people, that's exactly what they want. And if that's exactly what you want, like, hell yeah, great. But if you want your money to be working for you and you want something truly more passive, systems-based, scalable, liquid, diversified, I would reframe the way you're thinking about business, real estate, and investing. With investing in the market, you're owning little pieces of thousands of businesses without managing any of them, which is really freaking great. So I would encourage you to think about it that way when you're thinking about investing. If I had to summarize all of that, I think the real trade-off and the core insight I would have is that real estate to me is about control, leverage, and involvement. And investing to me is about simplicity, scale, and freedom. It's not that one is better or worse. They're just really different. And they're really like different optimizations for different lives. One really cool thing actually is having a little of both. I always tell my clients that if they want to buy their first property and they need a certain amount for a down payment, that I want them to have at least double that in their investments. So that if they take that out of their investments and put it in property, they're now 50-50 with their money in investments and real estate. I like that because I really just love the freedom of investments and I like having a balance. And also, I would say investing in the market is a great way to start because it's way easier and lazier and it's working for you while you're probably like building your career or starting a family, doing all these other things. And maybe you don't have time to be also running a real estate business. So I like starting with investments just because it's more simple and streamlined. And then eventually you can move money into real estate. As a random aside, so I've been investing since I was 18. So that's about 22 years. The last few years, the market is up 75%, but my investments have basically tripled. And that's because I'm invested in some wildly fun things. But while my investments have basically tripled, at the same time, this dream house, which came on the market a year ago, has dropped 30% in price. So as my investments tripled and the house price dropped, I was then able to move some money from investments into this house. And guess what? What a sweet fucking deal. What an incredible trade-off. That's the epitome of buying low and selling high. Really awesome trade-off I just made to get this dream house. Side note about the dream house. Yeah, I've always thought I didn't want to buy another home to live in, mainly because the home that I own in Austin is now down 20% from its high when I bought it. And I can't sell it for that, and I can't rent it for my costs. So basically, it's a lose, lose, lose. I do also have real estate in Greece, which I wouldn't have gotten involved in, except my family is there, building the villas, renting the villas, managing the villas. So all I had to do was come up with a chunk of money to build a villa. And at the time, I could never dream of affording something in Los Angeles. So I thought, okay, maybe I'll do that. But it was really more about the relationship with my dad and building something with my family there. And now, I mean, it's really awesome to have. I didn't even realize that that was going to help me retire when I first retired at 32, but it did. It created a little bit of income, which was not totally passive. But when you're retired, it's kind of different, right? Because I was retired living off of that passive income and my investments, and I had so much time and my family was managing it. But if I didn't have the family, I probably wouldn't be invested in real estate in that way. So yeah, I mean, yes, I'm involved in real estate, but most of the things I'm involved in, I've found to be either I'm not actually doing it because my family's doing it, or a total pain in the ass. Like, I wish I could get rid of my property in Austin, but that's not going to happen anytime soon. And then this property, I saw it, over a year ago when the price was 30% higher. And I was like, wow, that's a dream. And then it popped up again a couple months ago and the price was 30% lower. And I thought, gosh, I'll just go see it. And then after seeing it, I was like, I don't know, I really like it. I mean, I could just make an offer and see what happens. And I was talking to my real estate agent and he was like, well, let's just put an offer and see what happens. And then 5 minutes later, they're like, hey, if you increase your offer by 50K, it's yours. And I thought about it for roughly 3 minutes and I was like, okay, like it was the exact price in my mind that was at the top of my budget that I would be willing to spend for the house. And that was exactly what they asked for. So I was like, shrug, okay. And then we didn't hear for a while. But in the meantime, I go to a cafe and I literally meet an old man who built this house with his hands. I shouldn't call him old. He's still young and sprightly. But I meet the man who built this house with his hands in 1985, the year of my birth, by the way, which just seemed so serendipitous. Like not only to meet that person, but to have a conversation with a random stranger at a coffee shop in Topanga, and then to find out that they're the builder and like somehow the conversation gets to that point, like that's pure serendipity right there. So that's when I was like, okay, yes, like I have to get this house. It has to happen. And then I left and I parked my car, and right in front of me was the listing agent for the house. And I was like, okay, universe, I get it. I'm supposed to have this house. But then it seemed like I wasn't going to get it for a second. And then I did. And when looking back, all of my friends are like, you are the most incredible, magical manifester. Like you're just like, oh, I think I want a house. And then you literally get the dream house in 30 days or less. Like it just magically happens for you. How the heck does that happen? Truly, I don't know. I will also say that the day of my move, I was like, gosh, I would really love some baby chicks. How does someone even get baby chicks? Do you just Google baby chicks? And then in the WhatsApp group for Topanga, a little post pops up, 3 baby chicks. And I was like, okay, universe, you have to be careful what you say. So I don't know how I do it, but somehow I do it. All right, back to real estate. That was a lot of asides, but still loving it. So back to what I was saying, the lazy philosophy. I mean, I don't want to sound too lazy, but I'm optimized. I'm not careless. I'm focused. I'm putting less effort on some things so I can have more effort, more mental load, and more for the things that I do care about. I don't know how anyone could disagree with that, but I do think there is a point about using investments and real estate. There will be times when the market is high and it's good to take a little money out of the market, out of this, magical on paper money, and put it into a real freaking asset that you can enjoy. And I guess that's how I really feel about real estate. It's like, it's there for me to enjoy. It's an asset for me to enjoy. I want to be on this planet enjoying my time. I want to be responsible for my impact day to day. I don't want to be hustling, trading my time for money. That's really how I would summarize. So if I was starting from scratch, again, I would get with investing first. I would get broad market exposure, consistency, a long-term mindset, and minimal decisions. We're talking about automation. You set it up once, you walk away. We know that the best investors are people who forgot they had an account or are dead. So like that really proves the point of like leaving your investments alone, if you choose the right investments, is an excellent, excellent strategy. Now, for all those sad folks that have advisors and they're giving 1/3 of their money away over the long term, please don't do that and walk away. Please learn this much about investing, a teeny tiny bit, so that you can invest well and make a ton of money totally passively. Please, please, please. So the market was up 75% since January 1st, 2023. My real estate is down 20%. And then I just bought this house, which was down 30% with the big cash flux that I've had from my investments, which are in the market. Does that math make sense to you? Because I hope it does. So let's get back to the wealth philosophy. If your money isn't creating freedom, flexibility, and space in your life, then what is it actually doing? Think about that for a second. And this is where people ask me, okay, sure, but how do I actually do that? At a certain point, you don't want to just be making money. You want your money to work for you. And that's exactly what we focus on when we teach women how to invest. This is the focus. Why do I even care? Well, I prefer that you are out in the world doing what makes you happy, that you are out in the world doing what actually brings you joy. We need that more than ever. I know sometimes it doesn't seem like our joy is that important, but we're entering into a period, this next phase of humanity, where we really need you in your joy. We need you in your inspiration. We need you in whatever your unique gifts are. If your unique gift is real estate, great. Forget everything I said. Just kidding. Do real estate and do investments and play them off of each other in a really fucking savvy way. But if that is not in your highest vision for your life and your joy, like don't think about it that way. Do what you want to do and then make money for you using investing. I just want to say, like, you don't get extra points for doing things the hard way. I know many of us are raised in families where that kind of wasn't true. Like we actually think you got to work harder in order to make more. You got to do it. You got to put in everything you have just to like survive. Yeah, I think there's a lot of that with like the Protestant work ethic in the US, and certainly certain lineages have that very strongly. But no, you don't get extra points for doing something the hard way. So might as well do it the easy way. Thanks for allowing me to be part of your money journey. If you heard something that made you think in a new way or expanded your views about money today, please be sure to like, subscribe, and leave me a cute little note in the form of a review. See you next time. As always, a quick but important reminder that everything I share here is solely for the purpose of your entertainment, education, and inspiration. Nothing in this podcast should be taken as personal financial, legal, or investment advice. Everyone's financial situation is wildly different, and that's why it's so important that you do your own research and decide what's right for you.